Okay, so let's talk about a night that, on paper, really shouldn't have been a big deal. November 5th, 2005. The forecast for southern Indiana? Yeah, some storms, maybe some gusty winds, the kind of thing you don't even think twice about. But what actually happened after midnight? Well, it wasn't just a storm. It was a complete breakdown in forecasting that ended in an absolute unimaginable tragedy.
So picture this. It's 2 a.m. at the Eastbrook Trailer Park. We're talking about a community with over 300 mobile homes. And look, we all know from years of research that these homes they're just incredibly dangerous places to be in a tornado, even a weak one. And the storm that was barreling down on them this night, it was anything but weak. I mean, just try to wrap your head around that. You're sound asleep in your bed, it's a quiet, kind of muggy night, and then bam, the world just rips itself apart around you. The violence is so intense, so absolute, that your brain can't even process it as a storm. It feels like the ground itself is shaking. For so many people, there was no warning at all, just sudden, terrifying chaos.
All right, so that's the nightmare. A nightmare at 2 a.m. How a low-risk forecast became a deadly catastrophe. And the big question is, how? How does a day that's only labeled a slight risk for severe weather, and mostly for just damaging winds, turn into a night with a violent, killer tornado that stays on the ground for miles? That's what we've got to figure out.
So yeah, why was the forecast so wrong? What were the invisible ingredients that were bubbling up in the atmosphere? The funny thing is, the storms earlier that day were pretty weak. I mean, they were actually falling apart as evening came. But while everyone in Evansville was turning in for the night, the atmosphere was undergoing this dramatic and incredibly deadly transformation.
Okay, time to get into the science of it, the invisible ingredients. We're going to unpack what meteorologists call a low-cape, high-shear environment. To really get what went down, you have to understand that the atmosphere that night was, well, it was a classic trap. It's a setup that's notorious for spinning up powerful tornadoes in the fall and winter, even when all the usual big, flashy warning signs of an outbreak just aren't there.
So let's look at the forecast versus the reality. The computer models, what everyone was looking at, predicted a squall line, a big line of storms, where the main worry is straight-line winds pushing things over. But what actually formed? Individual, isolated supercells, and that is a whole different beast. These are the lone wolves of the storm world, the ones that can rotate freely and have the highest odds of producing those long, violent tornadoes. A total mismatch.
And this right here, this is the absolute key to the whole thing. The term is low cape, high shear. Now, cape is basically storm fuel, the potential energy in the air. That night, there wasn't a lot of it. It was low. But what they had in spades was incredible wind shear. Think of it like this. Cape is the horsepower of the engine, but shear is the transmission that gets the tires spinning. Even with a small engine, if you have a powerful enough transmission, you can create some serious rotation. And in the cold season, that combo is just dangerously deceptive.
Now, if you want to put a number on that spin, you look at something called storm relative helicity. It's basically a way to measure the raw potential for rotation that a storm can tap into. And that night, a little corridor opened up where the values went over 370. Now, to put that in perspective for you, anything over 250 is considered significant. So 370, that's just off the charts high. It was like a loaded spring, just waiting for something to come along and release it.
And here it is. This is the trigger that lit the whole fuse. While everyone was asleep, a jet streak, and you can literally think of it as a super fast river of wind way up in the atmosphere, it showed up earlier than any of the models predicted. It just slammed into the system like someone flooring the gas pedal, supercharging the whole environment, and waking up those dying storms in a hurry.
So that trigger lit the fuse. And this is what happened next. An unforeseen catastrophe. We're talking about the tornado's 41-mile path of destruction. Fueled by that perfect, tragic storm of ingredients, a single supercell gave birth to an absolute monster. A tornado that would chew its way across the landscape for 41 miles, all while moving at a horrifying speed.
Let's just look at this timeline. That storm was booking it, moving at nearly 60 miles an hour. That's a mile a minute. It gave people not minutes, but in some cases literally seconds to react. And right in the middle of all this chaos, you get a critical failure. Emergency managers, the very people in charge of the response, reported that their own NOAA weather radios never even went off. I mean, the one system that's supposed to be the final, foolproof line of defense, it just failed.
And this is the truly devastating human cost. The tornado found the most vulnerable people in the most vulnerable homes at the worst possible time. These aren't just statistics on a list. C.J. Martin was 2 years old. Jesse and Emily Donner, a father and his little girl. The Hilberts had just bought their home a week before. The Warren family, a mother, a father, their 4-year-old son, and their unborn baby. Entire families just gone in a flash.
25 people lost their lives that night. It's a number that it represents such a profound and heartbreaking blow to an entire community.
But you know, even in the middle of all that unbelievable tragedy, the aftermath brought out these incredible stories. Stories of heroes, of resilience, and of a powerful fight to make sure something like this could never, ever happen again.
This story, wow, this is just amazing. Brandy Moorfield was a young mom who died in the tornado. She was also an organ donor. On the very same day that her life was tragically cut short, a man hundreds of miles away in Virginia was having a massive heart attack. Brandy's heart was a perfect match. Her final act on this earth was to literally give the gift of life to a complete stranger.
And then there's the story of CJ's Law. This is about how one mother's unimaginable grief was channeled into this powerful force for change. Catherine Martin, who lost her 2-year-old son CJ, she realized that a huge part of the problem was that people just weren't getting the warnings. So she fought, and she fought hard, to get CJ's Law passed, which now requires weather radios in new manufactured homes in Indiana. And she didn't even stop there. She also created CJ's Bus, which is this amazing mobile safe haven for kids who are affected by future disasters. Just an absolute hero.
So when you put it all together, the story of Evansville is so much more than just a tragic memory. It's a lingering warning. It's a powerful, urgent lesson that we all have to learn from.
So what are those lessons? What's the unheeded warning that we have to pay attention to? First, a slight risk day can still produce an absolutely deadly tornado. It never means no risk. Second, nighttime tornadoes are a completely different level of dangerous. And finally, and this is the most important part, having a plan and multiple ways to get a warning, especially one that will physically wake you out of a dead sleep, it's not just a nice suggestion, it is a matter of life and death.
And that leaves us with this chilling but absolutely necessary reminder. Statistically speaking, it will happen again, an event just like this one. A forecast that looks minor but turns into a high-impact disaster. It wasn't a 1 in a million fluke. The ingredients will line up again. The only question really is whether we'll be ready for it next time.
And really, that's what this entire story boils down to. It's not just about a tornado that happened years ago. It's a question for every single one of us, right here, right now. When the unexpected, the unimaginable, comes for you, what is your plan?